Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Episode 7 is out, so let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold. This is actually my second time trying to make this video. For some reason, the audio didn't work on the first one, and the other day I didn't get a chance to talk about this show because there was so much cool comic book news. So yes, let's talk about this finally. This episode, after the last two episodes, which I thought were a step up in the series, the finally getting something to where I really liked, after being kind of mixed on the first few episodes, this was a little bit of a step back for me overall. Not to say that it was a bad episode by any means, it just... after the last two episodes, it was kind of meh. So overall, this is just the characters taking time for breaks and like trying to gauge how they feel, especially after a traumatic incident like the training exercise that happened. And yeah, I don't think I like the fact that they jumped a month forward. I think that's a little too far. I feel like if we had jumped maybe a couple weeks, that would have been fine to have some distance for the characters to process, but not be like done processing everything, which I didn't think they were done by any means by this point, but I just feel like you would have been a little more raw if we were closer to it in time. And then the episode then primarily focused on two groups, two plots, our A and B plots, with Jaden and Darren going off to the Kionian homeworld for Darren's marriage ceremony, which turned out to be... it was alright. I didn't think it was the worst thing ever, but I just feel like the drama of what was happening behind there just wasn't explored well enough. Because Darren wasn't committed to doing this marriage at this time. It was against the plan, and his betrothed knew that. And instead of really trying to investigate it, talk about it with each other, they just kind of went through with it. She kind of pressured him to do it, and because he puts others' needs before him, as Jaden made sure to say in his best man speech, then yeah, she recognized that yeah, he wasn't ready for this. He was just doing it to make her happy. And it was alright. I just feel like there was more dramatic meat to that plot line that we didn't get out of it because we didn't explore the Kionian homeworld enough. And then I just don't feel like the drama of the marriage it passed too fast for me. I feel like there was more potential to that storyline than we actually got. And then moving on to our other plotline, we had Genesis and Caleb actually trying to bond there together alone, as they're both staying behind for the Star Trek version of Thanksgiving, which appears to be called All World's Day. And before we get too far on there, they definitely leaned into some cheesecake like they haven't in a while, with Caleb just like almost butt naked under the atrium there. I am sure there's a lot of fans who loved that. I just was like, oh man, they're really going for that in that moment. Whatever. But yeah, then we get on with Genesis trying to bug him on and slowly trying to trick him into doing something that she wants. And they get to bond. They flirt a little bit. And this is the beginning of a second love triangle. The first one was set up there between Jaden and Darren and Kyle there, which I didn't talk too much about that because I don't really feel like there's much relationship between Jaden and Kyle yet. We haven't seen much of them together, so it's like nebulously there. But Tamara and Caleb, we've gotten some stuff on their relationship, and Genesis now with Caleb seems like maybe a better match in my opinion, so I kind of hope that they get together. But at the same time, like, I just don't feel like we've developed Tamara and Caleb's relationship enough to feel like this is going to be like a really will they won't they kind of situation. And I do think that when we finally get Caleb like being like, oh, maybe she can just be my friend, but my friend just tricked me into doing something bad that got me in trouble, when we got to see what Genesis was really trying to trick him into, I didn't like what the dramatic reveal was. The dramatic reveal was that people said she was scared, and I was just really hoping for some kind of twist at that point. I don't know exactly what. Maybe saying that her father wasn't secretly an admiral or something. Maybe all her backstory was a lie. Something like that may have been too much. But I think something there, other than some of her people who gave her letters of recommendation said she was a scared person and she needed to get over that stuff. I just didn't feel like that was a really worthy reveal. I feel like we could have put something more there that would have made Genesis a more dynamic and interesting character, someone who needs to grow. Not saying that getting over self-doubt and fear isn't something to do, but lots of characters do that. So this was a moment that Star Trek had to introduce something there to Genesis to make her a little more compelling, and I just feel like they didn't go far enough in that moment. But again, overall, I like the dynamics that we did get to see. We got to learn more about the Kionian homeworld. We got to see a new Star Trek holiday in that sense. There's nothing particularly bad about this episode. I just feel like in both of the major plot lines that we were exploring, we could have gotten more out of each of them, and I just really wish that we had. But let me know, what did you think of this show so far? So far pretty mixed on the season as a whole. I do hope that this continues to get better as time goes on, and I hope the second season is better, because lots of shows find their footing after the first season, and we know that they're getting a second season, so really hope it improves. But yeah, let me know, what are you thinking? How are you feeling about this show?